34. Welcome, guys. GrowthArtic episode number 34. Today, again, with our special guest from Silicon Valley and Trier, very close to Cologne, Kevin Indig. Again. So after having you talking and inspiring us about how working in Silicon Valley works, today we want to focus on your predictions for growth in 2019, right?
Yeah, I've been reading your blog, which I have to say I like the format you are doing, all the linking to the articles sections, really well done.
Thank you very much.
Since when have you been doing that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started 1.5 years ago because I realized that I write a lot and it really helps me to clarify my thinking.
To reflect.
So I thought, why not put that out?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so 2.5 years ago, did I understand that right?
1.5.
1.5.
1.5, yeah.
Because you are really transparent with your data. You show like Google Analytics, screenshots directly in there. Check it out. It's at kevin-indig.com. And I can highly recommend it from what I've seen so far. Yeah. So let's get into some of those predictions. I've got 3 that I'm really excited about. Do you have anything you want to start with, man?
Yeah, for me, it's this kind of how will the B2B marketing go further? So what is the prediction there? That's something what I'm really into because we are doing B2B marketing and sales for ourselves, for our own businesses, and for our customers. For sure, there are a lot of B2B customers as well, but B2C customers too. Mm-hmm. So for us as growth marketer, growth hackers, whatever, it's always this kind of, okay, which toolbox do we have to get out today?
So what's your prediction for B2B and B2C marketing for 2019?
My prediction is that B2B marketing will become very much like B2C marketing. I think that we already see a lot of B2B companies, especially SaaS companies, use B2C marketing tactics.
Yeah.
And that is especially prevalent in the self-serve space. So products where you can sign up and pay a very low price, or that are freemium to a certain degree, where it doesn't make a lot of sense for the company to hire salespeople. You know, there's a certain lifetime value that a customer needs to deliver until it makes sense for a company to hire a salesperson, right? Otherwise, it's not affordable. Mm-hmm. And so for these self-serve B2B companies, they already use a lot of B2C tactics like search engine optimization, ads. They sometimes use social media marketing very successfully, and then most importantly, they pay attention to a certain in-product virality component. So what I mean by that is B2C companies are often inherently, they have a viral component, right? Facebook, for example, it makes a lot of sense to invite your friends, otherwise there's no value for you in the network. Similar with other types of B2C, and B2B companies start to employ that more and more. Good examples are Jira, for example, from Atlassian, which is an inherently collaborative product, but also something like MailChimp, which is not is a newsletter tool, and it's not inherently collaborative. But whenever you get an email sent from MailChimp, you'll see at the very bottom this little signature which says "Sent by MailChimp."
I don't even turn it off anymore.
SurveyMonkey, which says at the end, this a survey was sent with SurveyMonkey. Why don't you sign up here, etc. And these are viral strategies or viral components in products that I think more companies will adapt in 2019.
So you have worked as the SEO lead at Atlassian. In which of the products, the many products of which half I'm using, actually, or was it across all products?
Yeah, basically all of our products have a collaborative and therefore viral component. So with Jira, it is obviously inviting your colleagues, so you can send tickets. Jira is a project management tool for those who don't know it. Trello is very similar. You can, even though you can manage your grocery list or your wedding with Trello, it makes much more sense to invite other people to collaborate with you on that. And we also have products like Bitbucket and Confluence. Bitbucket is a Git management tool for code versions. And Confluence is something like a wiki for your company. And all these are inherently collaborative. So there is a very strong viral component.
Yeah. So from the SEO perspective, which product has the biggest organic search draw for Atlassian? Do you remember?
Yeah, it is still our cash cow, Jira, because it is the most known product. Therefore, we got a lot of links to it. That being said, the biggest organic traffic drivers after Jira I have to say now, where I'm not working for Atlassian anymore since last week, but where our microsites. So we invested a lot into creating content for specific topics like Agile or Git or stuff like, what else do we have? ITSM, which is, we have DevOps and all these kinds of developer topics.
What's your favorite microsite that people can check out?
Yeah, so you find that under Atlassian.com/DevOps, DEVOPS, or Atlassian.com/Git or /Agile. They're very easy to find.
Are they then redirected to another domain, or are they on a different domain, or are they all on the Atlassian domain?
They're all under the Atlassian domain.
Okay, so it's not really microsites in the sense of domains, but topical niches under the Atlassian.com.
Yeah, 100% correct.
Cool.
So in terms of SEO, so because we have a lot of customers doing this kind of shit, and there we are talking about microsites, and maybe we think we are talking about a boring product like project management tool. Could be boring.
Could be.
Could be, yeah. And now you say, okay, we are just doing microsites there. So what is the content on the microsite so that you can say this is worth reading for customers and for Google as well? I think that's a challenge everybody is facing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
For boring products.
So the concept of a microsite, as we understood it at Atlassian, is, as you said it correctly, it's a topical, isolated niche, right? So it's a set of pages that all revolve around one topic, and usually they're in some sort of tutorial or explanation format. So the Agile microsite, for example, teaches you everything you need to know about Agile methodology, from Scrum to Kanban, artifacts, ceremonies, all that stuff, right? So we wanted to make sure that when you land on this microsite and you leave it again, you know everything about this topic that's out there to know. The thing is, we invested heavily into that content by bringing on specialists and experts in that space to write some of the content for us. So we come with a high authority, or there's a high trustworthiness in that content. And then Google also prefers these almost library-like content formats that are very, structured, very focused, and that is easier to do on a microsite than, for example, on a blog where we cover lots of different topics.
But even within one domain, you would say Google is able to differentiate Git, the hierarchy of the /Git folder as its own microsite. Yeah, without it being on a subdomain.
Because all the articles about Git are under /Git, right? Yes, /Git, /what is Git, and similar in Agile, right? Everything is under the Agile directory, and it's all interlinking with each other. So it's very isolated and very structured.
That's sweet. You had in your predictions. Let's pick up this idea of the microsites, and you said experts writing tutorial course type of content, and use the word writing. But in your prediction, you say the rise of video and search, or the increased impact of video and search. Can you talk more about that? How would that work with the niche sites? What should we?
Yes, absolutely. So the thing is that with audio and video, so that's another prediction that I made, that audio and video will become more prevalent as a format, and that it will gain significant importance, especially for SEO. And I'm saying that for a couple of reasons. So first of all, as we all know, voice assistants and smart speakers are often regarded as the next wave of technology. They open up new markets, new interactions with technology in general. But Google obviously plays an important part in that fight, right? Google has their Google Home speaker out there, and those results are delivered from organic search, right? So when you ask what is Git, for example, then Google will pull the first result and will give you the answer based on that. So there's a high connection between the two formats, which makes audio in that sense more important. But Google also has started to show more videos in organic search, and we have some data for that that I linked on the blog. And so Google shows more videos for all sorts of different search keywords and search queries. For example, when you're looking for something, when you're looking for a tutorial, then Google very often is able to show you exactly the spot in a specific video where that topic is covered. But also for stuff like news, Google has shown to start the video carousels, and so the connection between Google and YouTube has become stronger. But also as a general format, video is a very strong, has become very prevalent. It's just easier to show how to do certain things on video, and I think this podcast is a great example in itself, right? I can convey so much more information and say so many more things than writing it down, and it's so much easier to consume, right? People consume more podcasts than ever. They listen to them when they do their laundry, home chores, or driving to work, and they watch videos on YouTube when they come home at night. So it is just the connection between audio and video and Google that makes it a prediction that I'm very confident in, and then also just seeing how I myself consume more video and audio.
Do you think Google will be able in 2019 to actually extract the podcast content from Spotify or whatever, or wherever, and be able to place that? We see it on YouTube that we have automatic subtitles already. It's more or less good. I always have to fix a lot of things, but I have not heard or seen this with regards to podcasts. And podcasts have a second big wave at the moment. It feels like it, at least. Yeah. Do you think that's going to happen?
I think so, yeah, for a couple of reasons. I think, so first of all, there was a great article on Medium that was written by Pacific Content, and the article is based on an interview with somebody working at Google who leads this effort to bring snippets, little pieces from podcasts into organic search. So the idea is that Google understands what is said in the podcast, and then returns it as a result when people have a specific question related to that soundbite. And we know that it's possible even from the outside, not only because Google says it's possible, but because we see that technology in action in video, where they can extract what is being said and discussed and then show it in organic search. So I think the technology is there, but also the business drive or motivation is there. First of all, again, podcasting is growing. There's some really great formats. All the big publishers have podcasts: New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Business Insider, Forbes. The monetization potential is very high in podcasts because podcast listeners don't tend to skip the ads, which is completely different on YouTube, of course. Whenever you can skip the ad, I always skip the ad, and I know everybody else does, unless you're forced to watch the whole 30 seconds, which is really annoying. But the monetization model is really high also because it is a different way to consume an ad. It is different because you can natively return the ad. So when me as a podcast host or you guys, when you say when you talk about an ad and you say it yourself, it has a very different impact than when you see an ad as a banner on a site or in a video. There's a higher trustworthiness.
It's more like influencer marketing
to the host. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I think it's gonna be topic next year.
So that means for us, I'm not quite sure if our podcast is published to the Google podcasting platform.
There is
because Google Works, I would guess they're just extracting podcasts which are hosted on their or published to their own platform, right? Because it's it's new, right?
It's very new, and we don't have it in Germany yet. That's the problem that I have. I'm waiting for the release in Germany because they can still somehow detect that I'm
So
not here.
this morning, it was my first morning where I connected my iPhone to my Amazon Echo in our bathroom to have a podcast while shaving.
Yeah.
It was my first morning. So where I connected not just hearing podcasts on the way to work or in the car, just instead of listening to the radio from the Amazon Alexa thing, it was connecting the podcast. It was this
podcast
morning.
you were listening to?
Honestly, it was our last episode, but not just for just checking it up to come to the business again for preparing for today's session. Yeah.
This morning I've been I'm on a watch rant at the moment on YouTube, so I always listen to, or now I watch YouTuber.
Yeah, but what I just want to mention is the connection for my iPhone and the Amazon Alexa in our bathroom. So I think it's not coming, it's there. I think we are living in a niche still, or in our own filter bubble thing, but
in my family we already passed it, because Alexa started to talk to my wife in the night, and my wife was really scared, and then she vanished the device from the bathroom, and I gave it away. But I see that happening. And what you mentioned in the beginning, when we started to talk about that, Alexa is reading you exactly one result. There is no first page of Google. You're fucked on second place.
It's just one.
Yes.
But I had a workshop last week in Zurich in Switzerland, and I start talking about Amazon Alexa, and they are watching like this. Yes, we know what it is, but it doesn't work in Switzerland. So, and we are talking about Switzerland. So Switzerland is not big and so on, but
that accent is just way too funny. Alexa just can't understand
But just to mention, so we are talking about this maybe innovative shit or the prediction for 2019, and there are developed countries like Switzerland which are not covered by any Alexa or Google Home or whatever.
They're also not part of the EU.
Yeah, but I think they play a role.
Okay. Let's go to the last prediction. I want to bug Kevin with. It's the social media fatigue prediction. Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit on that trigger word?
Yeah, of course. So I think one theme that has become apparent across the board and in several countries is that kind of idea of tech fatigue or social media fatigue. And it means that people are very simply tired of bigger social networks like Facebook. There are a couple of reasons for that. One of them, of course, are the big scandals that have impacted Facebook over the last 2 years almost, namely the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the hacking from the Russian side.
Those were two good jobs, though. Yeah, they were like really brilliantly done. But it's a bad reputation hit.
Yeah, no, truly. I mean, it's impressive what happened and the impact of it. And then, of course, that is not only Facebook is not the only target here. Facebook is just the most popular one, and because it seems that a lot happened on the Facebook platform, that Facebook is kind of the scapegoat here. But it transports through lots of different areas of tech and social networks. Twitter has also been affected a little bit. And then there are also these studies and these realizations that social media can be very draining for us, and that we need to use it with caution. I think, and this is just what the official or the general sentiment is. It's not necessarily what I think. But this is what people are talking about, and this is what people are concerned about.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you personally think?
What do I think? Well, I think that this technology is brand new. And I'm not only talking about social networks, I'm talking about the internet itself, right? This is not even 20 years old. And yeah, the internet is a bit older, but I'm talking about the mass adoption and broadband that makes it so easy to be constantly online, where we don't even turn off our laptops anymore and our cell phones. So I think we haven't really understood yet how to use it correctly, right? This is the first time ever that, first of all, the whole world is connected. And second of all, we have access to more information that we can process, right? So there's this complete abundance in terms of connection and information that's just overwhelming, and we need to learn how to use it correctly without losing ourselves in it, right? It's similar to when the TV came out, right? I'm sure a lot of people spend all their time watching TV and forgetting everything around them. And it's similar with every wave of technology. So sure, there could be a component to it that's harmful, but I think we just need to learn how to use it better and how to control it better. That's my personal view. And then I also think that in terms of the vote and Facebook, there has been an interference from Russia for sure, and that is to be taken serious. But I think that a lot of people are also frustrated that there was a high amount, that most people voted for Trump, theoretically, right? So I don't want to get too political here and jump too deep into things, but there's a lot more depth to it and a lot more nuance to these topics than appears on the surface. But I think the social media fatigue is real. People are, somewhat tired, and that doesn't mean that social media will go away or that all these platforms will die, but it has to evolve and adapt. In the beginning, everybody was very excited about social media. People, forgot about blogs and everything was happening on Facebook. People were sharing everything, and now you see much, much less engagement. But you see high engagement on things like Instagram or on Twitch or maybe Pinterest, right? So it's these somewhat smaller social networks, except for Instagram, which are still large, but are, not comparable to 2 billion people on Facebook, that show higher engagement because they are more focused, they have a clearer purpose, and they have a different type of usage that is tied to some other goal that people are trying to achieve. But I think across the board, people are a bit tired of social networks, and that's one of the reasons for why, for example, SEO in Google is getting stronger.
I would agree that a certain demographic is getting tired of social media. But I would also like to add that there are completely new demographics showing up on social media. Yeah, if I were to go into B2B on any social media platform, it would be Facebook, because the 40 plus crowd to 70 is starting to show up there and not on Instagram. Yeah, and I would spend 2019 hunting people above 40 and 50 on Facebook because it's going to be dirt cheap. Yeah, and then there are more and more young people joining. If you see 12-year-old YouTuber channels with millions of subscribers and their corresponding consumers. Yeah, and more niche social networks, and that are not yet over the hype cycle. Yeah, Facebook just has a maturity problem. Yeah, that it has become uncool because so many older people also joined. And we're gonna see how, we all saw what happened with our Facebook organic reach. Yeah, that was also one of your predictions, I think, from last year, that publishers are going to turn away from social organic, right? And I saw that 5 times that I got those really heavy hits on bigger Facebook pages. But on Instagram, we got 1 million subscribers, we get 1 million views. Yeah, easily. But that will change in 2019. It's just the natural maturity curve of a social network, I think. I'm wondering how Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter are going to be like in 5 to 10 years. If there will be a culture, a subculture of people on there that is still in the hundreds of millions, that is what I personally believe, or if they actually die out. Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think they die out necessarily. With Snapchat, I'm not so sure, but Snapchat still has the highest amount of young people, I think, under 18, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that. They have they have the majority of young people are on Snapchat. Yeah. That being said, Snapchat is not the social network in a classic sense. It is much more a direct communication channel than a public feed. And when we're talking about public feeds, let's not forget how often Facebook transformed itself, right? It didn't start with a public feed. It started with pages and profiles, right? Yeah. So I don't think Facebook is shying away from adding new features or taking some away. And then they also introduced Messenger, which seems to be heavily used. And let's not forget Instagram is also part of the Facebook network. But you can advertise on Instagram and build up your accounts, but I think only specific sort of accounts work. But there are very creative companies out there that do great stuff on social networks like Instagram. There's like the New York Public Library, which does great stuff, HBR, New York Times. So it's definitely possible, right? And I don't think that this will die out. But this kind of concept of the public feed from Facebook still getting high engagement from all users is getting tricky. But I also very much agree that there are older populations or demographics that are more active on Facebook. I see that in my own family as well. But I think that kind of, as you correctly said, that kind of initial hype, we're very much past that.
So personally, I'm total into this prediction of social media niches. Like Facebook is changing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the age. Maybe it's because of the content. Some people are using WhatsApp for a special purpose, or I think for Facebook, 80% of my personal Facebook usage is a Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
It's not just having a look at the news feed. Instagram is more like entertainment, just having a look at the news feed or the Insta store for just my personal usage. LinkedIn, I think, so we had an episode about this, is for me just my marketing stack right now. So where I do my business, it's more LinkedIn than everything else. And for sure, WhatsApp for my personal usage is just personal messages and no business. So
for me, it's all business.
For me, it's not business. For me,
completely, it has taken over email.
So I have 2 or 3 guys would get my phone number, and they are sending me business WhatsApp, and I hate it. But it's just me. I get a lot of questions from people in workshops saying, okay, what about WhatsApp marketing? Where I say, I'm 38 now, maybe I'm too old, but for me, WhatsApp is not a marketing thing. It's just personal. Sorry, I'm too old for this stuff. But we have to learn.
But we have to iterate.
We have to learn. And so that's exactly. So for me, it's not. So yeah, everybody's getting tired on the one hand, but on the other hand, I think it will be more specialized in the which social media tool or which tool or which app do you need for which case, or who do you want to reach out. That's even more. So if I think a good business idea for HubSpot or something, for a good CRM software would be I would wish for, here's my CRM. There are 10,000 people in my CRM, and they can give me the best channel how to reach this person.
Yeah.
That would be great. And not just emailing. Maybe it's WhatsApp. For this guy, it's WhatsApp. For this guy, it's the Messenger. So I know. So we are always talking about Facebook Messenger. We too. Yeah. So
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something to it. I mean, I think the direct interaction I think there's a lot of gold to be found there, but you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So what I mean is, if you have the WhatsApp number or phone number of a customer and you text them and you try to promote some offers, I think that's a really bad idea.
Yeah.
That is simply annoying. But if you allow a customer to ask you stuff and get a direct connection to customer service via text, I think that's a fantastic idea. And I'm saying that because I work with a startup in the text marketing space, and they offer solutions to either have direct communication with the customer, or say you organize an event and you want to send a message out to 100 members of your staff, then you can do that as well. But that's actually very comfortable. Imagine you buy a product and then you can send a simple text message saying I either want to return it or how do I do X with the product, and you get an immediate response. Super powerful. But if you're being marketed to and just spammed with offers and promotions, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. So I agree with you.
We marketers, we have this responsibility, especially the growth people who are also involved in the product marketing aspect, in building the viral loops, in setting up the notification systems for retention building. That is, to me, I have a background in psychology, and that is, to me, the major reason for tech and social media fatigue. That the notification and the whole retention and virality systems have become smarter than our brains. the notifications are set up in a way that we get dopamine triggered so precisely, yeah, that something in us cannot but react to look 80 times a day on that phone. I'm so thankful for Apple introducing the screen time feature, yeah, to give transparency to people. And I'm always comparing my own stats to other people, and I'm on the very high end of usage, I would say. And do you guys think at some point there will be like a guy like us, but who's actually responsible for doing it in a more user conscientious way, toning down the notification, toning down the retargeting to the right level so it doesn't feel offensive? Because right now we are on full offensive, at least I am, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that will happen, and it will be controlled and driven by the users, right? We as marketers, we always try to get to the, we always scratch the limit, right? We always try to be just one step before it gets really annoying to get the highest engagement and retention out of it. Makes somewhat sense. But I think that users will, first of all, get more power in shutting down annoying apps or whatever it is that is annoying, pop-ups and all that kind of stuff. And also with their behavior, just simply not go to sites that are full of ads anymore or full of annoying pop-ups. But then also I think consumers and users will become more radical in when they allow to be pinged, whether that's from a coworker or from an app, and then when they want to focus. And again, it comes back to that thought that I mentioned earlier, that I think we still have to learn how to use technology correctly. And I think that's, because we realize that we're being I hate the word manipulated, right? Because we still have a choice, but then we're being tempted to open an app simply because it wants to bring us back and increase a surface engagement metric, which does not impact the business at all, right? And to point out a specific example, and I'm not trying to point out a social network to hate on it, but I get these emails now from LinkedIn all the time about some irrelevant stuff, right? And it really annoys me. And I think that, all these things, all these notifications and all these pop-ups that are irrelevant to us, again, we as consumers have to, and we will tone that down, and then the companies will hopefully understand that. And I think that there is a market for more user-friendly and conscientious products that don't annoy the user that much, but in the end, it is mainly driven by the behavior on the consumer side.
I think that is a good last word for today. Guys, if you have any questions, hit us up.
Your predictions, maybe?
GrowthArtic.com/34 to go to the show notes. You can find Kevin Indig on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Everything is at Kevin Indig as far as I know. Otherwise, check out the links in the description. Hendrik, do you have any last words?
If you like it, if you have ideas for other special guests like Kevin or somebody else, please let us know. Give us a comment, give us an email, whatever. Because
I'm sure we are getting old. We are getting boring to you guys.
So, Kevin, thank you very much for your time and for inspiring us and our listeners with all your ideas and experiences from Silicon Valley. Hope to see you soon in real again. So where can we meet in 2019? Is there a special conference or place where we can meet?
Oh, good point.
I mean, you're always invited to come over to the Valley. Be my guest. And before we end, I want to say thank you very much. You guys are awesome. You're doing a great job. It was really fun to be on. Where can we meet in terms of conferences? That's a good idea. I already have, I think, 6 or 8 conferences booked for next year. We're speeding gigs. I'll very probably be in the Cologne area. I think the latest in September, October, because we have a German accelerator event there. And then in terms of other events, I'm all over the place. But I'm not yet 100% sure when I'll be the next time in the Cologne area.
I remember we met the first time in real at the SEO Campix in Berlin.
That is true. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was 2014 15 or 16 maybe, or 17.
16, I think.
Maybe
Yeah.
we give the people the
Yeah.
links in
Yeah.
the description below if they would
Yeah,
like to
cool.
join us.
Kevin, again, thank you very much. Thanks, Ben.
Bye bye. Stick around.
Bye bye.
Cheers.